Greetings, everyone. My name is Poran, and I'm going to talk about self-care today. So, if you're new to this channel, welcome, and I wish that you could sign and subscribe and like and all those things and share. And I'm hoping to be able to reach out to more people for an important message that I have. So I am a clinical counselor and a clinical supervisor, psychotherapist in private practice, and I'm doing this to raise awareness about how self-care is being conceptualized differently and from a multicultural perspective, we have different ways of taking care of ourselves. First of all, when I was a child, born and raised in Iran, Tehran, I was learning from self-care in terms of what to eat, what not to eat. I mean, this is mostly, I think most of you share with me. I mean, our parents used to tell us what kind of food, what kind of spices goes with what kind of food, and what is healthy eating. I mean, that was very interesting. However, we were never being told how to care for ourselves in other domains of self-care. I mean, today I'm going to talk about not only physical self-care, but emotional self-care, mental self-care, spiritual self-care, and social aspect of self-care. What are those? I mean, we know the physical aspect of self-care or that domain. Of course, it's not only about our eating habit and also about how do we exercise, what type of exercises we do, if we do anything, if we do any physical activities, any movements, any stretching, any walking, any joining any clubs, whatever. However, in terms of physical aspect of self-care, I think most of us we know with today's technology and social networks, etc., we know that we need to be active. However, in an emotional sense of self-care, how do we take care of ourselves? What do we do when we are sad, upset, angry, feeling lonely, feeling abandoned, feeling not interested of doing anything? Those emotional aspect of self-care is really important, and at times we kind of misunderstand it with other aspect of life. If we are upset and sad and lonely, maybe we are blaming ourselves for not being good enough, or we are not feeling well because on the other hand, we are kind of criticizing ourselves for not being like others. Oh, look at others. They are very active. They go hiking, they go biking, they go swimming, and I don't. So what's wrong with me? This is a general question usually people have of themselves when they recognize that their level of self-care or the habits of self-care is lacking somehow. So that's emotional self-care that we need to kind of deal with, we work at the where we are emotionally not well. Of course, seeking psychotherapy, seeking help, seeking emotional help is very important. However, from who, where, by whom? Those are my questions. And then another aspect of self-care is about mental self-care. Mental self-care is about the way we are thinking. Our way of thinking at times is a very kind of can be toxic, and also how we are internalizing other people's way of thinking about us or about the world. If other people think of me as somehow less than, not important, not valid, or so on, maybe I internalize that sense of self care on myself, right? If people are telling me, for example, friends, family, or making a comment about my weight and height and color of hair or color of skin or any kind of characteristic, maybe I will not be able to kind of manage my emotions and my way of thinking about myself well. So these are important aspects of self-care too. Mental self-care. How do we recognize that what kind of toxic way of thinking we have about ourselves and what part of it coming from others, what kind of is coming from toxic relationships, right? And what kind of it is has been internalized because of adverse childhood experiences, attachment issues, relationship issues. So anything about our way of thinking, and that needs to be taken care of. So mental wellness, mental self-care is as important as it is as emotional and physical self-care. And then, on the other hand, if we are taking care of our health care and self care on this matter, so maybe mental self care also would be how I'm or how we are. I'm always exampling myself because it's easier how I choose to spend my time with certain people and not with others. And that's also a mental a way of um presenting myself or thinking about my values, my way of life. So this is what I'm encouraging you to do. If you feel like there are people who understand you better than others, and some people are toxic to you, yes, maybe you need to think about that from an aspect of wellness and aspect of mental self-care. That how that's going to affect you if you don't listen to yourself, right? And also, the another domain of self-care is a spiritual self-care. I mean, what do we believe in? I mean, it's not about all the belief, it's about our connection to the outside world of ourselves. If it's the creature, if it's the God, if it's whatever we believe in, how do we kind of help ourselves in times of pain and suffering, emotional suffering? What are the sources outside of ourselves we kind of join in order to find healing and develop a better self-care for ourselves? I mean, this is important, right? The spiritual one. I'm not talking about religion because religion is another aspect of self-care too. I mean, however, spiritual self-care is about everything beyond religion. Beyond this is about our connection to life, connection to the world. And also, another aspect of self-care, I want to talk about our self-care in terms of our other aspect of social life. I mean, the social life whom we are spending time with, and that was part of mental self-care too. However, the social aspect of self-care is how we are joining what communities, what groups, what activities, how do we value our relationship with others. We are human beings. We need our relationship. The relational aspect of healthcare is really huge, enormous. We need to be in relationship. We need to be valued in relationships. And how much are we able to value ourselves? How much are we able to appreciate ourselves? Not in a narcissistic way, some people do, but in a realistic way, knowing about our strengths and abilities and weaknesses and challenges and hopes and desires and so on. So, in terms of self care, also the social aspect of self care and the existential self care, in my view, how do we value our freedom, our choice? Our ability to think about our boundaries, an ability to kind of choose our boundaries and create boundaries and developing perhaps relationship with others, and what's our level of gratitude. This is also part of the spiritual self-care. However, I think they all go together. It's a circle, it's a cycle of recognizing our needs and values and hopes and desires, while also understanding the way we are differentiating between ourselves and the world. One thing that also we never learned as a child, I mean, these are aspects. Maybe in your family it was, however, in most families, in the special multicultural communities, because of the perhaps most emphasizes on differences on the values and customs and tradition. Maybe people forget about the commonalities of we all are human beings. We all need to be validated. We need to be confirmed, valued, seen, heard, and so on. And therefore, it's important to recognize beyond the cultures, beyond the cultural connections and sense of belonging, what are the ways we are taking care of ourselves? What kind of activities, I mean, what kind of movies we see at times, what kind of podcasts we listen to, what kind of work we do. I mean, how much we value to kind of have a joyful, satisfying relationship in our workplace with others, and or maybe we just do the work because we have to and we need the income. That's fine too. While we know that, I mean, all research showing that if we don't have a plan or if we don't have a self-care, I mean, in terms of burnout and vicarious traumas and dissatisfaction in life and helplessness, hopelessness, these are all the consequences, right? We may be able to live our life without self-care for a while. I mean, as much as in young people, I mean, I remember myself those years, I never thought about self-care, and I always thought that, oh, I keep going and this is the best way. However, now that I look back, I'm like, hmm, I needed to know more about this. I needed to be curious more about this, which I was not, and that's okay. Many of us, when we are young, we just think that we everything we do is perfect, right? And I guess that's part of being young and unexperienced at times, and all experiences we have, the combination of them telling us what kind of decision making to do and so on. And also, as part of the advertisement culture, I remember for years ago, we were seeing all this advertisement. Oh, if you value yourself, you use this type of color for your hair, or you go polish your nails, and those type of advertisement. I think they have given us wrong messages. Yes, at times going shopping or doing something like that is good for ourselves. However, self-care is beyond spending money, and it's about using money as a value. It's about valuing ourselves beyond the commodities and materialistic life that surrounds us, right? And confuses us at times. Unfortunately, we get confused in a world that we think self-care is all related to what kind of brand we have. If we are putting brand in our life and we are branding ourselves with brand, so you know what I mean, right? We need more than that. Self-care is a holistic way of taking care of ourselves and a holistic way of seeing where we are in life, where we are going, what kind of meaning we are creating for ourselves and others, and what we want in life. I mean, these are self-care too, right? The more you reflect on yourself and where you're going in life, the better self-care you have. And you know what? self-care in terms of physical self-care shouldn't be a kind of punish for yourself. I mean, people who go to the gym every day in life and they push themselves all day long to kind of go to the gym because this is self-care. I mean, how much of anxiety and pressure is that, or stress is that? I mean, self-care need to find a balance that works for us. That balance is very self-defined and is based on your way of reflecting on the needs and desires and what is good for you, what is good for you in terms of living your life. So, anyways, this was my point. Self care is important. Whatever you do, think about it and see how you can view this holistically. I hope I can hear from you. Shoot me a comment and I would be happy to reflect back on it. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.